Hey, welcome to the Sketchcraft Podcast. I am Rob Duenas, graphic artist Esquire. If you're tuning in for the very first time, then you should know that every now and then, about every other week or so, we typically get together to talk about art and movie and comic related geek stuffs, all that good sort of thing. We're going to talk about stuff we've been doing, stuff we've been reading, stuff we've been watching, stuff that Brandon probably hasn't been doing that I'm going to bring up and embarrass him on live internet. That's what we're going to do all today on Sketchcraft, the podcast, episode 71. It's episode 71. We're getting up there. Well, to join in with me tonight would be Brandon Megatator James. Hello.
Welcome to the Sketch Dome, mother truckers.
Also joining in is Ashley West from gangfeather.com. Ashley, say hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Also, another robot come to life to join us here on the cast is Kyle Wright from from LA? Is that what we're doing now with you?
Sure.
From the bowels of Los Angeles, come forth the Kyle of Wrighteth. How you doing, Kyle?
Excellent.
Excellent. All right, so we're going to be talking about all sorts of stuff, so let's get right to it. Let's start with artist updates. Let me just click this over here. Check this out. Boom. Whoa, look at that shit. Oh, right down there. Look, it says artist updates now. Look at that. Nifty. All right, so this is part of the show. We're going to update you on what we have been making, what we've been up to. So, Brandon, what have you been doing for the past couple weeks?
Hooray, I'm up first. Well, recently I'm trying to get rid of all the sketch covers I've done over the past couple months and doing like a liquidation, an art sale, which is a nice gut check. Knowing your worth is what it's about, kind of. I couldn't move these sketch covers, and so I'm doing an art sale to get them out so I can make room for the new stuff that we've been working on. And, you know, it sucks to drop the price a little bit, but sometimes you just got to do it. And, you know, eventually, if I'm good enough, I can charge more. We're updating getting back in my groove on the YouTube channel, getting everything right, and you showing me all the new stuff we're doing. That's about it.
More of the same, right, Brandon?
Pretty much.
More of
repeat,
the same.
repeat.
Ashley, before you put every link known to man into the document, why don't you just tell me what you've been up to? All your links are below, by the way, so don't worry about that, Ashley.
Busted. No. What? What do you want me to do?
What have you been up to? Let's just tell people what you've been up to.
I've been working on my little comic book, or comic book hybrid, Velthanius, and I've been working on it for a really long time and about to debut it, and I don't know, probably gonna be October, so be looking out for that. I'll try to make a big fuss about it. So, but I'm really, really excited about it. It's kind of, I don't know, I'm a lot more excited inside than I seem right now. But yeah, I've just been working on that, some interior art, cover art, script, yada yada, everything.
Been working on your Instagram. That's what we got here
Yeah.
up in the little box up here. We got your Instagram up here. Boom, look at that. And we got your, self-promotion here. All right, Ashley.
Yeah.
Your Etsy. You got stuff up in your Etsy store as always, folks.
Yeah, it's like I got a lot of Velthanius art up in my Etsy. If you're interested in the characters, you like them. These are going to be in the comic, obviously. So everything's $10. So if you're interested, it's there.
By Ashley Soda, right? Right? You got a big soda habit, like Brandon?
I got a health food habit.
You got a gym membership. For someone who spends like 8 hours a day in the gym, Ashley,
I do not
Actually,
spend 8 hours in the gym.
It was funny. So I hit her up the other day. I'm like, God, we got to talk about some stuff really quick. She's okay. I'm at the gym. Call me back in 4 hours. I was like, oh, what?
I said I
Like-
got errands to run too.
Oh yeah, and errands, right? Errands, sure. Because you felt embarrassed. You're like, I'm gonna be on this elliptical until I die. And then Brandon hits me up like a few hours later. He's like, I'm going to the gym. I'll be back. I'm like, man, I'm the only one here drinking pumpkin
Hell
beer.
yeah.
Like that's it, pumpkin beer, motherfucker. So,
Birthday.
sad.
It's
This
gonna
is-
look like the next
my
con.
birthday's in October too, Hector. Sorry.
No, it's fine. The next con picture we take, it's gonna look like we're at a Fit Expo and like Rob is just like the fan.
I'm
So like
always
me and
gonna
you are
look
gonna
like
be
a
all
geek.
fit,
I-
and he's just
I
not gonna
keep my-
fit in.
I keep geek bod, folks. All right, I did the crazy workout thing in the army. I'm done with that. Like I'm not, and my wife doesn't let me get too crazy because I get mean. When I have too much testosterone, I go around going like, "And you're fat, and you motherfucker." Like it doesn't work out very well around here. So, but yeah, Brandon, Ashley, you guys, I'm gonna be the loser soon. I'm gonna be not Brandon. It'll be me, right, Brandon?
Nah, I still got a ways to go. I still got a ways to go. before I
Still
get-
in loser territory.
Yeah,
You're-
I'm on the. It's. I tell my wife all the time. I'm like, fuck. I'm right there at the line. Like, I'm not quite in shape, but you could tell I'm a big guy could like lift a house. So I'm like right in there between like an athlete who's been out of like the game for like 2 years, and like, oh, he's had some cheeseburgers. He's out of the game.
Or a lot of fresh basil buffet.
Yeah.
Probably. What else have I been up to? I've been working on IDW, folks. I've been working up on IDW stuff. I got this cover to finish up I'm already behind a week on at least because I've been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. So good chance I could be moving again in a few weeks, which means somewhere in October there's going to be a delay in service on this channel. Brandon, this will be posting updates because we got enough videos in the queue, right, to last a month.
Oh yeah. I'll keep it going.
So, but there'll be a little bit of downtime in October because I bought a house. So it hasn't closed yet. Hasn't closed yet, but that VA loan and every dime I ever earned being saved is basically paying off. So if that works out, then I will have a whole upstairs to just Sketchcraft. It'll be pretty amazing. Then I'll be willing, once I get it set up, then I'll be able to do a walkthrough. And so it's a little bit of cavey up there right now. It doesn't have the kind of windows and stuff I'm looking for, but we're going to build onto it moving forward.
It's gonna be cool.
Yeah,
It's gonna be cool.
Brandon, you've seen it. It's a nice place.
Yeah, it's a nice house. Like it really is, and I can't wait to come and snore in that house. And wait, that sounds bad. I can't wait to visit and snore. And
Thanks,
sweat in
Brandon.
that-
Your uppance is coming. So, one last quick thing you should know is we got Brandon. You already put real-time vids. Let me show this really quickly. You got real-time vids up for the First Right Cover 1 on the YouTube channel, right?
Yes, not all of them yet, but they're coming in pairs.
So you got right now we're putting up one each, the drawing and the color every night. And then also tonight, I've already put it in the queue. So if we just go to my super secret video manager section, we can see all those videos I got flagged. I already got a speed drawing part for we can preview it here. A speed drawing for the First Right Cover 1, 10-minute long. No commentary on this. This will just be the 10-minute, and then tomorrow or Wednesday, Brandon and I will record an hour-long commentary. But you can kind of already see here if I am speed it up. You'll be able to see sped it up, edited, all that other bullshit. So that'll be this week, and then next week we'll have the color, vice versa. So that is that. All right, let's move right along to internet news stuff. It's part of the show we talk about geek news stuff we've been following. Brandon, you want to bring up the big Jack Kirby?
Yeah, today is or would be his 100th birthday, and artists all over the interwebs are posting tons of their tribute art and just talking about how he influenced them and pretty much shaped the comic book world in general. And I think it's awesome that one guy can influence so many artists. Just so many different. It's comic book, but also different styles within that. Maybe certain people draw a certain way he drew hands or feet or just faces or anything. You could see inspiration in a lot of stuff. So it's just cool to see someone who's had such a dynamic impact on the comic world. So I thought that was cool that today on the podcast is his 100th birthday.
Kyle, you like comic books.
I do.
You a fan of Jack Kirby's art?
I am a terrible comic book historian. I don't know my old comic books very well.
For shame, for shame, for shame. Ashley, did you ever follow Jack Kirby's work?
No, I'm
too
sorry,
young.
but I do know him.
I'm gonna, you know,
You're too
I
young.
have my giant Jack Kirby book here. I just want to take it out and just throw it at either one of you.
I'm sorry.
Come
I
on.
do know who he is, though. It's not like I don't know the guy.
Yeah, and I know who Abraham Lincoln is, but it doesn't mean I know like.
No, but I mean, come on, it's okay. Like but I do respect him. He was
Ashley,
like really one of the first, and he was like a machine. You know,
he just
turned
feels
out-
like he's got one up, so he's trying to rub it in. You know what I
Hell
mean?
yeah! I don't get a lot of wins. Woohoo! I know something.
Yeah. Hey,
No,
Kawhi
but-
Chrissy asked if I'd be able to talk about my art styles and stuff. I'm going to be doing an art tip video tomorrow or Wednesday on that, so you can check that out then. So Jack Kirby, Brandon, before I start taking over the show and talking all about Jack Kirby, why don't we really briefly tell me what's your favorite single Jack Kirby thing ever?
Miracle Man,
Who's Miracle Man?
or
That's Jack, not Jack Kirby.
no, yeah, Jack Kirby.
That's Jack Kirby, Miracle Man?
Yeah,
He created Miracle Man. Let's type this one up. Is that true?
I am 80% sure. I mean, it was part of the whole New Gods and all that, and I always thought it was dope.
Miracle
All
Man?
this,
It's part of the New
Or-
Gods? Are you
that
sure you
whole
know what you're
thing
talking
with,
about?
yes, with Big Barda and Granny Goodness and all that.
Oh, okay.
Granny goodness.
Maybe we're thinking of a different Miracle. I'm thinking of the Miracle Man that got Todd McFarlane in trouble. Are we talking about a different Miracle Man, or is that like a...
I don't know the one you're talking about.
Hold on. We'll see.
Wikipedia says Stan Lee and Jack Kirby
Yeah,
created
but that
it.
ain't the Miracle Man I'm talking about. Miracle Man here is not... This is the Miracle Man. Hold on.
Right, but when he was called like Mr. Miracle when he
Does
first
Mr.
came out,
Miracle
like-
have a wife?
I'm
named
talking
Yeah,
about...
Big Barda, Big Bertha,
Yes.
Big
Big
Barda.
Barda.
Okay.
Okay,
Sorry,
so
I think the Flash called her Big Bertha in a Justice League episode. So that's why.
the Miracle
But-
Man I'm thinking about was originally called Marvel Man, and that's the one that McFarlane bought up and pissed Neil Gaiman off. And
Oh no, I was talking about
Yeah.
Big Barda, Granny Goodness, escaping Apocalypse. Whatever you say it.
okay, you're talking about.
He was called Mr. Miracle when it first came out. I
Gotcha.
believe, But
Okay, you like this?
yeah, I mean, I thought it was cool. I thought I liked the whole the concept of him like trying to escape, you know, the Houdini type thing of it. And I always liked the whole Granny Goodness, and she was evil, and you know, his wife was this big, huge, muscular chick, and he was just like this little escape artist guy. I thought it was cool. I liked him on the Justice League cartoon too.
I did that.
So
yeah,
you're
I did
thinking of a
like that.
DC guy, but then this one's Marvel. I'm all confused, man. Like,
There you go, Mr. Miracle. That would be him. But I've only ever heard him called Miracle Man. So not that one, but
that was a pretty often used name, apparently. All right, so that's interesting. We've all learned something. Congratulations. Yeah, see, now this I get. This weird tornado-like outfit. That's right up Brandon's alley. The green and the red thing. Yeah, Brandon likes that stuff. Interesting. For me, it's a little bit less flamboyant. I actually, if I had to say if there was a big Kirby influence on me, it's because of Savage Dragon, like Eric Larson, you know, sort of like bit off that Kirby thing, kind of pushed it forward in the 90s. But in terms of just Jack Kirby things, there was a Silver Surfer cartoon in the 90s that was really horribly written, but looked pretty cool because it was animated in Kirby's art style, which, if you know, is like this is some scenes from the cartoon. Really quickly, we can kind of jump through. You can see it's total Kirby. It was really, really horrible in terms of the Thanos was in that shit too, man. Thanos was in this cartoon. The writing was no good, but it was cool because they did the Kirby Crackle. They had a giant CG Galactus, you know, and it was all Kirby's art style. Which this is a look you will not get from animation today, you know. Definitely not from like DC or Marvel. Like, look at all the blacks and shadows that they've animated. Like, they're not gonna make anything like this. So I thought this was pretty fucking cool. It's a chore to listen to, you know. The acting is not good, but pretty impressive art style given, you know, even the time frame. Even now it would be pretty impressive that they would attempt to do.
Ooh, you know what? I'd like to change my answer because I just thought of it too.
Oh, no.
Etrigan.
The demon.
Oh.
Yeah, Etrigan the demon. I like him a lot too. So
From the animated series, or because you actually read a comic book?
a little bit of both.
Nah, from the animated series.
Well, yeah, that was how I first saw
Right,
it. But
yeah,
then
okay.
eventually later, I'd read about him.
That's what I thought. All right, so Jack Kirby turned 100. I never got to meet Jack Kirby. I think he was at the first Comic-Con I went to in 92, and I think that might have been his last Comic-Con, if I remember right. The last thing I remember he did was 1963 at Image, which was a imprint that they did where Jack did all the rough pencils and every image creator like inked an issue or something. It's a pretty off the wall thing. Back then I didn't even understand what the fuck it was. Because it was like, now I know it's like every week we get some weird comic book crossover event, that isn't tied to any kind of continuity. But in the 90s, it really was always tied to some form of continuity. And that was like an image thing that wasn't tied to anything and dealt with there being an image in the 60s. I don't know. It's fucking weird. To this day, I don't understand what was going on. But that was pretty cool. And I think then he passed away, 94, 95, somewhere around there.
It's been a while.
So it's been a while. But he would have turned 100. If you have never read a book called The Adventures of Cavalier and Clay, I highly recommend it, or listen to it on Audible. It's very well narrated. And there's a lot of stories in there that were based off Jack Kirby. Like, there's a hodgepodge of comic creator stuff, like Siegel and Schuster from DC and Jack Kirby and Stan Lee. A lot of different comic book, real-world, creator-driven stories were filtered through into that book. And it's about two guys that end up creating a character in the 30s. A comic book character, The Adventures of Cavalier and Clay. It would be an amazing Netflix TV show, I believe. So if you've never listened to that and you want to hear some stuff that has some Jack Kirby stories in it, whether you know it or not, The Adventures of Cavalier and Clay, I'd recommend it. Let's move right along. Brandon, what about Loot Crate?
Okay, so I've been seeing a lot of these random, not just Loot Crate, but all these subscription toy box. You can get the Pops, or the Funko crate or the Loot Crate, and all these nerd boxes of
Hold on,
random
before you
shit.
continue, we are being paid by Loot Crate, just so
We're
people
not.
know.
No.
Okay.
No, none of those. Not by Loot Crate, not by Pop Funk.
Yeah.
My little brother kept talking about this today at work. It was annoying the shit out of me. He's like, which one should I go with? And I tried telling him, to me, because he thinks that he'll get some exclusive out of these, that if you pay $25 a month, you have a chance to get the exclusive Thor with the silver helmet instead of the gray helmet. And I tell him, why not just save your money and buy it independently, buy the figurine? And I know that a lot of us have bought stuff. I know Kyle buys art all the time and stuff. And I just very curious what your guys' opinion is on these subscription boxes, on these things. If you think it's worth it to maybe get the collector piece, or it's better just wait and buy online, just because I get these ads all the time too on my phone through Instagram and sponsored. It's like, go to Funko's new box, Marvel's box, and you get a T-shirt, but you also get this exclusive pin. I don't know. I just don't know.
Ashley, you start
was on my mind.
I'll say, yeah. I would say that it's probably a good deal if you're a person that just likes a lot of IP. You're just kind of into a little bit of everything. If you're more like me and you're kind of specific on what you like, or you're just more picky, probably not a good deal for you. I know that you can probably.
Kevin Smith makes it real tempting sometimes, right, Ashley? Right?
Yeah, he does. They all do.
Because he pimps the shit out of Loot Crate. You like some stuff, you just get the stuff all over your face, right, like that. Like he gets real graphic.
Yeah, he does. He does. But yeah, no. I just think that's probably my first viewpoint or whatever.
Would you sign up for these programs, Ashley?
Me?
Are you the kind of person?
Probably not. I would probably do what Brandon says and save up for something one thing that I want. I don't need a superfluous amount of paraphernalia.
It's a big word. Superfluous. I didn't really consider that one. Kyle, are you a sucker for this stuff? Must you own all the Deadpool stuff for Deadpool month?
No, Ashley basically summed up exactly my viewpoint. If I want something, I'll buy that specific item. I don't want a bunch of just garbage sitting around that just because it says Firefly on the shirt. Yeah, it's a stupid shirt. Like, if I want a Firefly shirt, I'll find one that's cool.
But what if it's
that I
a
want.
sublimated photo of Nathan Fillion's chest and it's just tattooed Firefly on there? Like you could wear Nathan Fillion's chest.
I mean, I'd pay almost anything for that.
I understand. I get it. Yeah, the Loot Crate thing and these subscription like monthly boxes. Like I think if I had like a kid and it'd be something we could do together every month. We got a thing in the mail and we made it a big deal and we unwrapped all the stuff around the fake YouTube fireplace or the Christmas tree. You could put up the YouTube Christmas tree that spins around for 10 hours and every month it could be. I mean, it's a better deal than how much a month would you say the average household spends on Crunch Berries that come with the free toy? Like how much does a box of cereal? You think they go through a box of cereal in a week or every other week, Brandon? Think a week?
Probably a week or two.
So what? Cereal's what, $3 to $5 a box?
Yeah, let's say $4.
You tell me. How much is it exactly for Crunch Berries, Brandon?
I don't eat Crunch Berries.
On sale or
Kyle's like, well, that depends on the time of year when it's Christmas
I got
Crunch
some
Berries.
coupons,
So I mean,
There's just so many factors.
it's probably the same amount a month per buying boxes of cereals, So you get some free toys, I guess. I'm with you guys. Like I don't see the point in buying. Like it's when I went to Comic-Con, they give you a bunch of free swag. And as a kid, I never wanted the free swag because it was always the junky version of the thing I wanted. Like you might get a box of cereal used to say it would come with the soundtrack to Batman, and it would be some flimsy tiny record, and it would have the theme to the '60s Batman show. When I would rather just save up all year and buy the CD of Danny Elfman's soundtrack to Batman. Like it's kind of like that. Like I like what's that action figure line? Not action figure. What's that line of toys? The Nendoroids. Brandon, what are those called? Nindoroids?
Yeah, Nindoroids.
Nindoroids. There's these little chibi action figures from Japan. They do different poses. They got fully painted faces and different expressions. They got a great Full Metal Alchemist chibi version. They got Little Witch Academia. They got some Justice League stuff. Like they're amazing. And then you got the Funko Pops, which just sit there.
Yeah.
Looking like Funkos, and are the Funkos cheaper? Yeah, but the Nendoroids are something that I would own, and they're special. So
I'm with you on that, Rob.
Yeah.
With those.
So, but we're definitely just made certain we will never see sponsorship from Loot Crate. So, good job, Brandon. All right, let's move on to now watching. The part of the show we talk about what we've been watching on TV. I'm going to limit this to one major thing here, and we'll talk about that other stuff later, Brandon. Let me switch this over. So the big topic here is back in. Let me get the exact. Let me get the exact date. Sweatbox. So back in the 90s or the late 90s, Disney was making a movie called Kingdom of the Sun. Kingdom of the Sun. And what Kingdom of the Sun was, what it eventually became was Emperor's New Groove. But it started out as a movie called Kingdom of the Sun. And it was going to be it's going to be directed by one half of the Lion King crew. I believe his name was, what was his name? The original director, Richard something or other. I can't remember his name. Probably way off. But one of the original directors of the Lion King was going to put this together, and it was gonna. It's like Disney. They're like, what haven't we done yet? We haven't done, Day of the Dead. We haven't done Mayan temples. So they figured they're gonna do the Disney version of the Mayan lore, and they brought together Sting, the pop singer Sting, from Roxanne, Brandon, you do it.
Rob, real quick, directed by Roger Allers and Rob Minkoff.
Right, that was Allers. Yeah. Roger Allers and Rob Minkoff.
Roxanne!
Right. And so they brought Sting on to help build the soundtrack. I imagine in my head, because they probably just got done working with Phil Collins on Tarzan, because this is after Tarzan.
Uh-huh.
So they're probably going through that. We can hook up with, instead of writing songs, we can get pop singers to do it. They do it, and they got Sting. And as part of the deal, Sting to agreeing to do this, to making the soundtrack for this movie, he got Disney to agree to let his wife shoot a documentary about this process. So when it was all said and done, she'd be able to release it and show the whole process from beginning to end per Disney's approval, and they said okay. So a movie was made called The Sweatbox, which was that documentary. And that thing was shelved like a motherfucker. Because what that documentary did was capture the process of a Disney film starting out as one thing, and through the power of corporate bullshit being out into An Emperor's New Groove, which I love. I'm not saying I don't love it. But those are two different. Imagine Lion King being all the way down to like Despicable Me, the Minions movie. You know what I mean? Like something with some drama that gets turned into a little comedy, and how that happens, and the people who sign up for it. And it caught all that, and it caught a lot of the warts that go along the way. So Disney shelved it. Never came out. Well, about a year or two ago, I can't remember how. It's probably 5 years now. A while back, that documentary ended up on the internet. And I saved it immediately. Like I was there. It was like midnight. You know, it was one of those weird things where, you know, your friends in your art channel like, oh my God, it's up. And you're like, what's up? The documentary. And I went and got it and I saved it. And I thought, because Ashley, you know, you're going through, you've been through a few minor little
I can relate to this story. I can relate to the documentary.
Right, you've been through some projects, and Brandon, you had a little bit of fun with me on a project once, right? You took a job once.
Oh yeah,
that went fun. And Kyle, you work in Hollywood, so you never see this, right?
Nah.
This didn't hit home for you at all. No. So I sent this video out to all of you, and who here did not watch it? You all watched it?
yeah.
Okay, good.
I watched it today.
Okay, perfect. So, the Sweatbox. I'm going to point everyone here, if you want to read up on it really quickly before we talk about it. This is the IMDb page, the Sweatbox. We'll put a link directly below. It currently holds 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes based on 6 reviews. Pretty fucking amazing. At least that's what it says. I haven't looked it up, but a quote, rarely have artists been caught so evocatively in fear of executives, or executives portrayed as so clueless as to how to deal with artists, how to resolve story problems, and how to understand what audiences wanted. Quote unquote from one of those reviews. The Sweatbox. If I can't give you a link, folks, but if you can find this, seek it out. Put it on. Anytime you're feeling bad about your job, just put this in. I guarantee you're going to feel a little better. I want to start off with Ashley. You're the first person who has to watch this. Tell me what you felt about the Sweatbox.
All right. Well, I'm going to pull up my notes, actually, just so I'm not lost.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I don't know, my initial reaction to it was like, as I started listening to it, I was like, oh, yeah, I've been here before. Yeah, like, I know what they're talking about. You know, like, a lot of it's, like, it basically started out as, like, the story that they had pretty much done to completion almost, as far as, like, what would you say, visuals? I mean...
Yeah, they had animatics, you know, they had story
they didn't have full
development.
animation, but they had, I mean, there was some stuff on there that was, like, pretty far along, like, you know, just maybe without the color and the lighting and whatnot. But I mean, you know, to have that much done and put that much time invested in a story for it to come back and go like, it's got to all be changed, like pretty much 98%, you know, you got to change it. And it's like, I know what that feels like, and just like to hear them talk about it, you know, I was just like, ah, man, you know, that it's tough, but I really have a lot of respect for just everyone that went through that process, because, you know, a lot of them stayed there. You know, I don't know, a few may have left. I'm not really sure, but you know, I think some were definitely very much disinterested. I know that the man that was the lead character designer for Yzma and animator, he was very disappointed in the new direction that the film took. And there was even, definitely some changes to the way Yzma looked from the original movie to the way she looks now. Not much, just a little bit. But I could just definitely feel, I could relate to a lot of the feelings that they felt, whether it was like feeling kind of depressed or feeling apathetic after the changes. Definitely Sting was definitely he was not impressed.
You could
by
tell.
it.
I get the feeling that the interesting part about that whole experience, watching that process, was seeing Sting be a guy who normally gets what he wants at that point in his career, have to go back down to like zero and watch getting nothing. Like just being treated like another cog in the machine, right? And he even mentions, I'm not used to this. Like, I'm not used to this. Kyle, you were the second person I asked to watch this. Tell me what you thought about the Sweatbox.
I found their whole process to be a bit backwards. I found it interesting. They brought Sting on. They're like, write some music for this movie. He's like, I don't know what it's about, so I don't know what kind of lyrics to write. They're like, well, just do something with it. So he's trying to write lyrics for a movie that has no script completed yet. And I thought that was very interesting.
I don't even think they had enough of beyond a script. It didn't seem to me like they even had a real treatment. Like, they didn't know who eventually they knew there was going to be like a Prince and the Pauper remake, sort of, right? But then they were adding characters and taking away characters, and didn't seem like they were just sort of, ooh, what haven't we done yet?
It
culture.
seemed like, it seemed like, it's going back to the Yzma character. It looked like she was the one that was most fleshed out, and probably remains that way because the character that she is in Emperor's New Groove is pretty similar to what she was originally, and so was Cusco, except in the original one he had a different name. But those two probably stayed the same. Pacha's character changed like crazy amount. But
yeah, they went from they initially had Pacha. They went from Owen Wilson to John Goodman.
Yeah, 16-year-old teenager to 45-year-old man.
Yeah, big change. Anything else, Kyle?
Well, I said the movie didn't really hit home for me in that everything I've done, we have never had like that executive oversight telling us what we had to do or decision by committee. But I have worked on a couple projects where the director wrote it, we shot it, and then when we were done, the director decided he wanted to completely change the script and just went back and shot like half the movie himself. And so I do know what it's like to go through those changes.
All right, Brandon, any thoughts on the Sweatbox?
No, I didn't watch it. No, I'm just kidding. I have a couple notes. It was funny hearing someone make about the 30-minute mark, one of the guys made a joke about nudity, which I thought was real fucking funny. He's like, yeah, they liked it except for the nudity. And I'm like, what the fuck?
And the gunplay.
Right. Yeah, that was just funny to hear, Or
he's like, I'm worried about it with all the nudity and the gunplay.
Yeah.
I guess in the review audiences. But that was funny too. And what's his face? David Spade making that joke about Manco and that it means I don't know.
He drops the P word. Yeah.
I don't know if that was true or not.
No,
but
he's just being funny.
Yeah. No, you never know though. I'm just like.
There's humor in this documentary that is never going to get past a Disney oversight committee. That's what's so when David Spade they're asking questions and everyone's got a serious answer, but obviously David Spade won't give one of those, and so he makes a thing everything. I loved everything except when they they insert inappropriate joke. And because if I say it, I'll get flagged by YouTube. It's pretty bad. It's pretty out there. And you're like, no fucking way is Disney ever going to approve that. But it's there. And what's crazy is when their executives start making jokes like, okay, here's the thing. David Spade is a stand-up comedian who can tell dirty jokes. I get that. When he tells one from him to the camera, I get that. When the executives at then Disney Thomas Shoemaker, I believe. He looks like Benjamin Linus with a mustache from the Lost TV show. You remember that? The little weasel dude who was in charge of everything. So he looks like that guy. He makes those kinds of jokes in a room full of people. And because he's the one in charge, everyone has to go, ha, ha, ha. Like it's really, you can tell no one thinks it's funny, and they're just laughing because he's the fucker writing the checks, at the end of the day. Like, yeah, I think it's fascinating. Brandon, what else you got?
Okay, so I did like around the 25-minute mark how they're just talking about how hellish it is. It's like the story was in like a limbo kind of hell kind of thing where they're just thought it's not going to happen. It's just going to be total chaos. And then around the 41-minute mark, he's like, there's too many ingredients. Like they tried too much, like try to fit too much in and made it way too complicated. And then just they didn't simplify it, and really just sum it down. And I like that, how he's saying, yeah, we just tried way too much. Like we tried to fit way too much in there. And I think that happens a lot with stories and people's books. They'll try to put way too much shit in there, and then you lose track of what the actual story is. So that was nice of him to like actually say that and be honest about it. That hey, we had too much in this, And then around the 42:29 mark, I like how the guy was talking about balance in his personal life and like his kid going off to college, and how this is also like his baby. This movie is his baby. So it's kind of like bittersweet. He has this new project, but he's also sending his kid off into the world. So it's like, a lot of people don't realize that us artists, we have personal lives and shit that affects us and things that happen. Kind of like, you had to go out of town for family emergency and stuff going down. And then people are like, well, where's my art? It's like, hey, you got to understand, like, we want to give you art, but life happens and shit happens that we got to take care of. And it affects the way we make art. So I thought that was really cool.
And then he was fired a week later.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
There's this thing in this documentary does. If you watch it multiple times, and I always put it on when I'm going through a real shitty deadline, I put it on, and there's this thing it does where it shows you things that aren't good, that aren't going well, but then tries to put something in to give it that fake documentary lift, pick me up, like. And it's not because the person who crafted it didn't know what they were doing. I really believe there's a bit of irony that's completely deliberate in the editing of this film. Like she tried to put it together in a way that, look, this fits the mold of a documentary, and look, it was a success. But not really, right. And even though The Emperor's New Groove turned out to be a fun film, it was not the success it needed to be box office wise and financially. And Kyle can bring this up. There's a documentary that came out a little bit later called Dream On, Silly Dreamer that's available on iTunes, that I would call the unofficial follow-up to the Sweatbox. And this you can go buy right now on iTunes. And if you want to have a real depressing day as an artist, you should see what happened to that animation studio because of the decision-making process that, let's see, they had just got, it's the same people that were in charge, it's the same regime that was in charge of, I want to say from Hunchback of Notre Dame, Pocahontas, Hercules, Atlantis, Fantasia 2000, Dinosaur. These don't sound like the winners, right? When you think of Disney. Like, and all the way up into that cow movie. What was that one called?
Home on the Range.
Home on the Range. That was the one that... And there's a point, too, if you know that movie, it's about these cows. There's a point in the movie, in the documentary, where they're repitching the film. They get a bunch of guys in, and they're all white and middle-aged, and they're all really enjoying each other's jokes, but none of them are funny. And I say it because it's embarrassing when you got a whole film being made up of another culture and everyone in the room grew up in Simi Valley, LA, and they're clearly me, just with different shades of hair. And so they're sitting in a room repitching versions of the story, and one of them was like, what about Talking Cows or something? They pitch Home on the Range, and no, we're not doing that. But if you catch it, it's there. Like, one of them pitches Home on the Range as a reboot for this film, and what they ended up going with was the movie we got now, which somehow turned out to be fun. But you could see the pain in some of the artists' eyes when they spent years trying to work on like Yzma, like giving them pathos and a backstory that mattered. Like she really didn't want to lose her. She didn't like getting old and wanting to die, and she really wanted to be youthful. And then it kind of got played for, like a some like it hot screwball comedy effect. And I think the end result works. It's definitely a fun film. But at the end of the movie, as we all know, spoilers for fucking Emperor News Groove, he basically builds a theme park at the end of the film. And when that first, like they focus more on the family, but at the end it was just Cusco builds a theme park and everyone's happy. Ha ha, who cares? And this pissed Sting off to no end. Kyle, tell me your thoughts when Sting writes a letter that Roy Disney is in a room reading off with the heads of Tom Schumacher and all these guys. They have to read this letter that Sting wrote. What was your feeling? What was your thoughts going on when Sting wrote the letter? The Cameron Crowe, the Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, well, watching the whole documentary, I was like, this is why, like, the creative aspect by committee doesn't work. But then Sting comes in at the end. He's like, look, guys, this doesn't, like, your movie's not working because of this. And I'm like, hey, this is kind of the redemptive process of this part of the committee actually did fine-tune it to make a much better product.
But because he stepped up, right? And like,
yeah,
because he doesn't care if he gets fired. He's Sting.
Stepped up.
Yeah, because he's the committee didn't step up, and the artist couldn't. Like the documentary opens up with artists going, "We don't know if we're gonna get fired. Like they're going into a room, and we don't know." Like,
Yeah.
And then it has this goofy doom 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 doom. You're like, what the fuck am I watching? That's kind of dire. Brandon, what were your thoughts when Sting wrote the letter to the Disney executives?
I feel like I didn't like really Sting in the whole fucking thing. Like
really?
It felt like
I
just thought like he makes music. He's not a writer. I mean, he writes music, but he's not like. I feel like it was too much. Like, oh, what did Sting think? What is Sting's opinion on this? I don't know. I didn't care for it. Every time Sting was on, I was just like, oh god.
That's interesting. So Brandon, you thought Sting was pointless.
Not pointless. I mean, he helps. With the whole Disney music songs, but I'm just saying, like,
what is a da 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 da? What is that?
I don't know,
such
man.
As that, such and such as. I'm curious. So it's interesting. You didn't like the way. That's interesting. I never thought about it.
I gotta agree with Brandon to a certain extent that I really don't remember any of the songs from that movie
because his songs weren't in the movie.
There was only one song.
Yeah. His songs, all that. So you guys, this is why you got to watch it multiple times. Sting spent 2 years making songs. None of them are in the movie except at the very end. And it's a song that is somber and clearly has nothing to do with Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I meant. Like, he got his song. I don't even remember that song. I'm like, well, he obviously didn't have a catchy tune that, like, got my attention. I feel like from a music aspect, he had, like, zero impact. Right. From a storytelling aspect, he saved the ending of the movie.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, well, he actually had zero impact on the final effect of the film because that wasn't the film that they were trying to make. I think, for me, okay, Ashley, go ahead. You wrap up. What did you think about the Sting letter?
I thought it was very eloquently written, and
Righted. It was elegant.
Kyle, you're just name dropping yourself at this point. Like, stop.
I don't know. I think it was good. That's all I want to say. It was good. Sorry.
Very eloquently spoken.
No. I just think it was. I was a little confused that they did change something after he wrote it, right?
Yeah. They made the ending of the film more about having friends and family. That also, because they finished the animation. So the animation of them going down a water, they just moved it to the left, but it was really about being able to share your things with your friends and family and being able to share your gifts in life and then being
I was a little confused by it, the whole, but no, I do think that was good. So.
See, for me, the way I take away this, Brandon, like, you're seeing a person like Sting who's like, a rock star musician dude, makes what he's going to make, writes crazy lyrics to these songs, does some pop music, but I mean, by this point, he's doing mostly folk. He did that one album, and then it's all been like folk music. And he gets into this system, right? And he's unfamiliar with that system completely, and appalled by it, but wants to see some form of finish, something. So spends 2 years trying to do something, and nothing comes of it, And basically, he gets to experience that for the first time, whereas everyone there is like, "Oh, that's business,"
That would be frustrating. That would be like really frustrating.
And it could come off as pretentious because, well, he gets the benefits of being able to take vacations in the Himalayas or whatever. He can step away from it. He doesn't need the work, but at that point in his career, he's not taking on work because he needs the money. He's taking on because it's something to do, and this could last forever, and he can make a difference too, and maybe help bring some awareness to another part of the, there's all these good intentions, but it gets chewed up into this machine and spat out, and having worked in, corporate t-shirts, it's like now when people ask me, Rob, why don't you just do t-shirts for like T-Fury and design whatever and and those really artistic driven shirts, I don't have the passion for it. Because I've worked in the Disney side of things. I've worked for Disney licensing, and where every creative idea gets turned into, I got forced to do a "Was Up" shirt for Star Wars once against my will, like I spent all day making it, and that was my life, and I had to get notes on the fucking "Was Up" shirt that I didn't want to do, but you got to pay your bills, and you're like, well, this is fucking so hard, there's other ways to pay your bills. Yeah, there's other ways to pay my bills that also don't require me to invest my soul. I could go work at a shitty store and not give a fuck, come home and drink a fucking pumpkin beer and shoot the shit about the fucking Sweatbox all night, But fucking, we have taken a road where you're putting more of yourself into a project than you're going to get back financially, And I think that's the first time Sting's had to dealt with that, because he certainly didn't see the amount of, he got nothing out of it. No one remembers he was a part of that movie, ever. Except for this documentary, which doesn't help. And for me, when there's that much going wrong and it's captured, I'm so happy. Like I get very, give me your tears, like, because I'm like, that's right, it was difficult and it didn't go well. And at the end of the day, Disney Animation ended up shutting its doors just a few years later. It's since rebirthed into something else, but it went boom, and I was in college at the time when all this was happening, and we were hearing about, like, there's no jobs up north, you're never going to pay off your student loans, fucking run for the hills, get out of town, learn motion effects, learn how to do anything other than drawing, and that wasn't, that's great when you got $70,000. Yeah, that was my
sad.
senior year. Yeah, it was my junior and senior year in college. Teachers, professionals would come in and speak to you and let you know there's no money. Do something else. Learn math.
There's a thing about having, like, I don't know, like a heart in what you do, and I can't agree with that.
I know. That's why
traditional stuff. I don't know. It's just...
Well, like I said, folks, it's a complicated film to watch, and you're not going to have a good night. And if you watch Dream On Little Dreamer afterward, you'll probably want to kill yourself. But I think as an artist, you should, try to do it with friends so it's not so harsh. Don't watch this movie or this documentary the first time you've had a bad experience, professionally speaking. I would never do that to you. Don't go watch Rick and Morty. Like, laugh. But when you're willing to take it on or put it on while you draw or something, it's fascinating. And every time I go to Disneyland, I listen to Sting music all the way through now. Like, it's just my favorite thing ever. So, all right, let's wrap that up. Let's move on really quickly to Comics Watch. Brandon, without speed reading, very succinctly, very quickly, tell me, what have you been reading this week?
I was reading Invader Zim, issue 1 and 2.
The comic.
The comic book, yes.
And what did you think?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. It's really funny. There's some things I wrote down, 2 lines that if you take out of context, they're perfect. Like, Gurr says, "I ate baby there." Like, just What? You ate a baby? Like, what the fuck? Dib gets super fucking fat waiting on Zim to come back, and he gets all gross and nasty. Oh, it's so good in the first issue. And then, do you want me to talk about the second issue?
Well, let's just really quickly. So basically, the Invader Zim comic book came out. Kyle, have you read it?
No, I picked up the collection just at San Diego Comic-Con, so I need to give it a read.
Yeah, so we won't spoil it. They're about a few dozen issues in. But it came out a couple years ago, and I always get hit up anytime my Zim piece makes around the internet. Like, you should draw this comic. And I think when it first came out, one of the major sites ran my art as the art promoting the comic, which is weird. Yeah, flattering, but not, don't do that. But the series picks up after the end of the cartoon series, and there's a period of time between the cartoon and the series, and what's been going on since then. And by the cover alone, folks, it's no spoiler. Like, Dib did not age well between
Not at all. No.
the first two issues, and the first two issues are also written by Johan Vasquez. Is it Johan? Kyle, is that how you pronounce it?
Sure.
Yonan Vasquez. He wrote the first two issues. The art was by Aaron Aloksovic, and I think Megan Lawton did a few of the others. But it's written perfectly. I mean, it reads like an episode of the cartoon, right, Brandon? Like, flawlessly.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Like it's so good. Like at first I didn't want to read it, because I was like, it can't be as good as the show, but it's just like the show. It's just great. So
yeah, it's fantastic. And we got that animated series movie thing coming out this year or next year. Kyle, do you know when that's coming out?
I do not.
Kyle, not on your game tonight. You just went to a Comic-Con. You don't know anything. Losing my faith in you. Down
As
2
you should.
points. Hold on. Gotta take off 2 points from Kyle's list. That's done. So, but they do have an animated movie thing coming out in the next year or so. Invader Zim, the comic. Brandon, would you recommend people buy it?
yes,
Yeah, you would.
if you're a fan of the show, you'll be a fan of the book. At least so far. I've read 2 issues, and I like it. There's a line from issue 2 where this character's on fire, and he's just chatting the fuck away, and he goes, "I get real talky when on fire."
Yeah. It has
Like,
all
really,
the
like-
dark humor you love, and then
Yes.
some. Yeah, and the art is fantastic. They cram a lot into every page, Ashley. Like, if you want to know what's possible in a page layout, you gotta whoever drew. I think Aaron did the first 2 issues. But you know when you're getting the Yonan Vasquez script. Yeah, because it's just clearly balls to the wall, like just manic. Just things being shoved into panels and fonts everywhere and crazy dialogue. Yeah, it's so good. It's really awesome. It's American comics wise, it's my favorite comic book being produced in America right now. So it's pretty good. Big thumbs up to the Invader Zim comic. We'll move on from there. We're almost at the hour marker. Ashley, did you want to pick any one of these topics?
No.
Good job, Ashley. Good job. Kyle, did you get your Spawn Vault edition?
I have not.
You have not. All right, so let's move on to Artist Alley. That's the part where we like to talk about artists we've been following. Brandon,
Mm-hmm.
who have you been following recently?
I can't even try. I could try to pronounce it.
I want you to say this. Go ahead.
Dimitris Pantazis.
All right, so I'm unfamiliar with this. Kind of a little bit of a Mignola vibe going on here.
Yes.
How did you discover this artist?
Instagram. It just happened to pop up in one of my things, I believe, and I just really liked some of the stuff maybe posted a couple months ago where it was like solid red Daredevil and things like that. So then it did remind me of older Hellboy, excuse me. It's just real cool. It's solid shapes, real dark. I just like it. Every time he posts something, I'm like, this is cool. I like the look of it. It's kind of like how Hellboy was in the beginning, I think, but using maybe one color to tell something. But I liked it a lot, so that's my pick.
Super sweet. Ashley, were you able to check out any of his stuff?
No, I did. I'm sorry.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Yeah, Kyle. So it's definitely got like a Mignola vibe, dude. It's pretty dope. So, oh, look, he's got a Usagi. Kyle would be happy. You can see that he draws it like a bunny. It's pretty dope. Oh shit, it's not on there. Let me bring that up. There we go.
Yeah.
Someone should tell me if it's on. If I haven't clicked on the thing, my bad. So yeah, you can see here's cool Batman Beyond. That's pretty dope. Oh, Ninja Turtle. It's pretty cool. Everybody but Michael Bay can put together the turtles.
I think I saw Luffy in there.
Luffy from
One Piece.
that's right. Oh,
I
maybe
love
missed it.
Luffy. I don't know if I just saw that
Yeah, right here. Right
because I wanted to. Okay.
here. Yeah, good times. Good times. That's good stuff. Good call, Brandon. Yeah, I also really like. I like this Usagi. This is pretty dope. I like that. Reminds me of my bunny who passed away. Oh, I brought the show down. It's good stuff. It's good stuff, Brandon. All right, so I got a couple. This artist is Toniko Pantoja. Toniko Pantoja, animator. Look at some of this nifty gifs. This is their web page or Twitter handle I follow on Twitter. Got some pretty dope animations when we come to the media section here. I like to follow these animators on Twitter. They just put these little test animations and things they're doing. Like, you get to see a lot of experimental animation, and you can see like you're just even like the lines and stuff like that. It's pretty dope. Animatics, if you like storyboarding, which Ashley, we like storyboarding.
I love.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And pigs. Pigs are always nice. Little mice creatures, which I know Kyle's a fan of. Right, Kyle? Right? You a fan of little mice? Little mice with swords?
I like creatures.
This is what I wish Iron Fist actually looked like in the goddamn show, but that didn't happen. So this is an animator, dude. It's got some really great stuff. Always putting up little animations and stuff. I always find that. I've done a bit of 2D animation, and the shit's fucking hard. There's nothing easy about it. So anyone who fucking does it should be given some props. And lastly,
I think animation requires a ton of focus. When I mean focus, I mean like it paint like to see them flipping back like that when they're doing traditional animation. They're like when you're doing. I'm just like I get it. Like I don't know. I have a lot of respect for that, so it's hard.
Yeah,
So,
I totally agree. Brandon, any thoughts on the artist?
No, I like it. I think I could probably never ever do 2D animation, but it's a cool. It's like when older. I don't want to say. I guess Disney had that. You could see some of the lines and stuff, where it's not just like
On 2D animation, you can see lines.
No, I meant on the.
You mean on the actual drawing I'm looking at? I got you. You can see the
Yeah.
understructure.
Yeah, that's the cool. That's like the real.
So
cool
it's
part.
like you see like the raw loose lines, but then you
Yeah.
also see the cool crisp stuff. So
Although if you're a person that fidgets a lot, maybe animation would be good. I mean, I don't know.
You gotta really love working on the same 3 seconds for like a year. So like that's where I lose.
I don't know. I don't know. I might be able to. I've tried it before, but trying it again.
I recommend every artist give it a shot. It'll make you a better artist.
I've tried, but
Lastly,
I'd like to try now. Sorry.
Lastly, I want to bring up Phil G. Phil G is a pixel artist. You know me, I love some pixels. I've been playing a shitload of Sonic Mania right before I go to sleep. Look at this little Sonic he drew. It's so fucking gorgeous. God, it just makes me so happy. But he's a really good pixel artist. I like me some pixel art when it's really good. Tons of Final Fantasy. Look at this Final Fantasy 12. It's fucking awesome. But he's also an actual animator and working in games and shit. Oh my god, that's fucking amazing! So these effects animations. Look, it's got Ninja Gaiden, dude. I want this Ninja Gaiden game. This Mario's dope. Little isometric Mario. That's awesome. So Phil's got a lot of great. He did this title screen for a game called Quest of Dungeons. That's pretty dope. Big fan of that. And I think he did this one set down here. Yeah, look at that Mega Man. That's so cute. And this is a game that he did a demo for, Flynn, Son of Crimson. So, someone with the axe. And this one I know of, Pathway. Pathway, this is dope. It's like a top-down Metal Slug style, kind of like randomly generated game. I think it's already on Steam. This is dope. It's actually 3D, but with pixel textures and stuff. And so here's the light cycles being generated in engine around the pixels. Pretty fucking awesome. It's clever, right? So gorgeous. God, look at that. That's so beautiful. I want a Zelda game that looks like this. Yeah, I know. I know a lot of people go, oh, pixel games are getting old, but not when they're done like this. That will never get old to me. You know, that shit's hard. Pathway, The Search of the Lost Element. So I follow a ton of these sorts of things on Twitter. A lot of the people I follow are mostly game developers and artists and stuff. So always checking it out. Is there anything else, Brandon, that we missed?
I got nothing.
Ashley,
That's worth talking about.
is there anything else you'd like to mention? Anything we've forgotten about? This
No.
is the time to do it.
I'm
You want to
good.
yell at Brandon? You can do it right here. End of the show. Get away with anything? No?
I'm not witty enough for that.
All right. Kyle, can you get anything to add? Anything you want to mention?
I do have something.
Sweet.
We skipped over what is Kyle working on.
I was waiting to
and-
see if you would bring that up.
So
That was intentional.
the things I'm working on, there's a big lag between when I'm working on them, when I can show them. So I will talk about what just came out that I worked on recently. It's a show called Mystic Cosmic Patrol. It's on Funny or Die, and it's kind of a Power Rangers spoof. If like the Power Rangers were really terrible at their jobs, and so Funny or Die is doing 2 episodes, but it's split up in halves because people have short attention spans apparently. So the first one came out last Thursday, and then part 2 of the first episode will come out this next Thursday, and then episode 2 will come out over the course of the following 2 Thursdays.
Super sweet. Do you feel like you're now in competition with Seth MacFarlane, Kyle? Or do you think maybe it only got released because of that? Like,
I think Seth MacFarlane is in competition with me.
quote unquote.
The lines have been drawn.
We had our very first panel at Japan World Heroes this last weekend, and everybody laughed in the right spots and really seemed to enjoy it, so that's a plus.
Will you be dating Amelia Clark next just to teach Seth MacFarlane a lesson?
Nah,
It's possible.
So what is your response?
stranger things have happened.
Didn't see that one coming. The useless knowledge up here, folks, up here. I have not had a chance to watch it, but I will, Kyle. I promise I will.
Well, I recommend watching both halves back to back because I don't think it holds up as well as just a half episode. It really works better as a full episode. So I would wait till next Thursday and then watch parts 1 and 2 back to back so that you get the full experience at once.
I will, and then we will also compare it to the other show when that comes out, and then we can have a battle, right? We can
Yes.
It'll be like Armageddon versus Deep Impact, right?
Yes.
Dennis Quaid
4
versus
nerds
Kurt,
enter.
Dennis
Only
Quaid
Rob
versus
exits.
Kurt Russell, you know. Jean-Claude Van Damme versus Tom Hutchinson. I'm sorry, Steven Seagal versus Tom Hutchinson. Jean-Claude Van Damme versus a bowl of muscles.
Yes.
Yeah, Brandon versus Kingpin, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's a very goofy show. I think it's a lot of fun.
Ashley
I usually hate
versus an
everything I
icicle.
work on.
Ashley versus
Who?
an icicle.
An icicle?
Yeah.
She gets cold easy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cold easy.
Yeah.
Gosh, Kyle, you shot this how many years ago?
2.
Holy shit. So, I mean, not to drag this out, just really quick question. when you shot this, you went to go work on it, and you're like, I can't wait to work. This is going to be I'm going to do a sci-fi comedy thing. It's right up your alley, right? Like, you like Doctor Who, you like Star Trek, you like Galaxy Quest, right? You're probably thinking, we're going to do like a Galaxy Quest TV show. It should be a lot of fun, right? Probably all the in-jokes that you know. What was the movie you watched on the airplane out there? Like, what was out in the theaters? Like, did you just put something down when you went out there? What were you doing at that moment?
This was actually shot in town.
Okay.
So I didn't have to go far. But for this, I knew it was going to be kind of a lo-fi comedy. And so I actually went back and watched some Mystery Science Theater episodes to see kind of how they took their super low budget and sets and kind of worked with that to make something fun and enjoyable. And so that was one of my influences, and obviously Power Rangers. I had never watched Power Rangers before, so I
Blasphemy.
so I hopped on. They were on Amazon Prime at that time, so I watched a bunch of Power Rangers episodes just to get a feel for the look. And
For the magic, you mean, sir?
oh yes, the magic.
If only we had some pre-made Japanese B-roll we could insert half the show with and just kind of cut around. Same with Mystery Science Theater. If only we had a B movie, we could cut the entire jokes around. But, man, that's pretty cool. I mean, it's awesome that even though it took 2 years to fucking finally get released, at least it did, right? It's not sitting on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah,
So that's a big win.
It spent a lot of time almost getting picked up, and then someone else is like, oh, maybe we want to develop this. And so spent a lot of time in maybe it's going to turn into something. And after this last not going through, they were just like, the producers were like, let's just throw it out there and Funny or Die, see what kind of interest there is, and maybe kind of give some of these companies that have been on the maybe side of the fence a little kick in the butt to be like, oh, hey, people are interested, or maybe they won't be interested. We'll find out. But it's been trending in the top 3, I think, ever since it came out.
Awesome. So, Brandon, we're going to watch it, right? We're going to do a review and just rip the shit out of it.
Oh, fuck yeah. And when you get famous, Kyle, just don't forget me. You can forget Rob, just don't forget me, okay?
All right, Branson.
All right, Mega Parsnip. All right, so go check it out, Mystic Cosmic Patrol. I'm really glad Kyle took the time to make me remember to put that up. So
thanks for sharing it, Rob.
Thank you, Kyle. All right, no, it's awesome. All right, is that anything else? Are we all done? We done enough show? We done an hour of show. Have we done enough for you, folks?
You didn't bitch at me for anything. You sure we're done?
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. I just got too much pumpkin beer in me. We got to let it. I'm not getting paid by Blue Moon, by the way. It's just they're the first ones to make it to the store pumpkin beer, and this is the one time a year I actually drink alcohol. And then for about a month I get fat feet, and it goes away. But I'm gonna enjoy. I'm gonna enjoy my fat hobbit feet, huh?
Can we get a picture of your fat feet online, please, sir?
No. No, it would disturb you.
Proof.
Yeah. No, we got enough fat things on the show, Brandon. Thank you very much. All right, everybody. So, all right, we will be back on soon enough. Say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Mystic Cosmic Patrol. Remember, Loot Crate, we don't care.